Hello everyone, good evening and welcome to Roma Theory. The big question is, will it be a Christmas carol or will it be a Christmas disaster? That's the question, because that calendar is not looking good and I am very worried for our calendar. I'm very worried for the next few games. Without Dybala on that pitch, I know the limits of this team, I know the weaknesses of this team. I have no expectations for the next two games in the league. I really do not. Um, and I kind of want not to have expectations for these games, because if I do have expectations, then I know my team far too well. But there could be something, I'm not writing these games off. This is something which we will discuss today. I do want to talk about calendar and Christmas period. I do want to talk about Pellegrini. I promised yesterday that I was going to delve into this topic. And then the last thing which I do want to talk about today is, again, continue speaking about Mourinho's post-match words after Bologna, because I find a lot of interest in those words. The fact that he wants to stay, but maybe he wants to try a new project which involves young players and young prospects, and the reality behind that. So a lot to speak about today. So yeah, if you're ready to smash a like, subscribe if you're new, obviously. And I think we should start with the calendar. Now, Napoli on Saturday and Juventus before the 2024 mark. Last game of the solar year will be in Turin. But we've got Napoli this weekend. Now, these are two games where we are not favourites, and I don't think we are favourites. Some people might say we are favourites on Saturday against Napoli. I've said it. I don't have expectations for these two games. We can win, but I do think that both Napoli and Juventus are the favourites in these two respective games. I see a better organisation in those teams. I see better quality in the players of those teams. And especially, probably the most important thing, I see teams which do not suffer from injuries like we do. And that, to me, is the reason why both Napoli and Juventus are the favourites coming into these games. Saturday's game against Napoli is the most important game of the season up to now, without a single doubt. The game this Saturday against Napoli at home, from the second that Budapest final ended to that game on Saturday, it's the most important game, because it really is. Again, it's never a last call, but it's a last call to wake up in big games, because it's one of our last big games of our solar season, and we literally haven't won one big game in this solar season. The only big game that we won in the solar season, so from January to December, was Juventus at home. That's the only big game we won against the big teams of this league. And, it's the last call to wake up, because the year is about to end. So, it's crucial. The reason why it's crucial is because it's a head-to-head verdict between two teams which are going to fight against each other until the very end of the season for that top four position. Napoli and Roma, in my opinion, this season are very similar, apart from the fact that we've got 10,000% the injuries that Napoli have. But on paper, I see similar sides. Dybala and Lukaku, Osimhen and Kvara. Weak defenses, weak goalkeeper, weak fullbacks, even though they do have Di Lorenzo. They're similar teams, so it really is a head-to-head game that no team will want to lose, and whoever does lose that game is going to start 2024 in a terrible way, especially because Juventus away, football's weird, but we have got a terrible record, Juventus away. We have never won in that stadium apart from once, which was a useless game. Last game of the season, Juventus already won the league, when they were literally benching Ronaldo and Douglas Costa and all of those. So we either wake up now, or we will be around the 11th and the 12th position by the time the 2024 year starts, because we need to wake up in big games. We need to start giving our identity in these big games, because we ghost far too many big games. We sit back in far too many big games, and we look clueless in far too many big games. So Saturday's game is a vital game. I wanted to go live today to, kind of anticipate this. We'll obviously speak about it in the match preview under more detail, predicted 11s and all of that. But it is a very important game. It's the most important game. So yeah, I mean, excuse me, I've got a terrible cough. Does anybody else have this terrible cough? It is terrible. It's annoying. It's a weak cough, but it's annoying as hell. Anyways, sorry about that. I do want to spend a little bit of time speaking about Pellegrini, because it is definitely going to be the topic of the Christmas period. We will have a lot of topics around this Christmas period. There will be a lot of chats about Roma, around the Roma environment during this Christmas break, Christmas period, mini break, whatever you want to call it. One of them is going to be, can Roma win big games? And can Roma get top 4? That's the base. The second one is going to be, keep or sell Pellegrini, who is not performing and looks absolutely lost. And the third one, as always, will be, will Mourinho sign that contract or not? These three debates and topics are going to be the clue topics of this period. You will see journalists and newspapers talk about these three topics everywhere. From newspapers to online articles to YouTube videos to, Pinterest images. It really is it's going to be, these are going to be the topics of the moment. And I do want to talk about one of these. Pellegrini. Keep or sell Pellegrini. It would be a lie to say that I am not fed up. I am fed up and I am disappointed. I remember this summer I was sitting in the forest filming those daily transfer windows videos in front of those trees, and I remember I said if I look at it now, I look like an absolute idiot. But I remember saying, I want Pellegrini and I expect Pellegrini to get double figures in either goals or assists this season. We are now halfway through the season and Pellegrini has scored 1 goal and provided 1/2 assists and missed like 2 months of football because of injuries. That is what you call disappointment. He is living a terrible moment. He looks lost. I've said this already. He looks absolutely lost. Will I support him? I will. Because ultimately he's my captain. And ultimately he's my Roma player. So of course I support him. I'm not a delusional fan. Am I being honest though? And will I say that I am disappointed in him? 100%. The reason I'm disappointed in him is because I've made up some time thinking about this, but Pellegrini is not captain material. You look at games and Pellegrini doesn't speak. Pellegrini doesn't communicate. No hand gestures, no communications. Pellegrini looks like a fish out of water in that midfield. And this responsibility of being the captain, in my opinion, is playing a massive factor and it's contributing to his poor performances. Don't get me wrong, he can never get his fitness at 100% because he's always injured. So that is definitely a massive contributor. But the fact that he's under this pressure of being the captain, but I think he himself knows that he's not good at being the captain, is what is triggering this. So if you ask me, keep or sell Pellegrini, my answer is very simple. Before answering keep or sell, the season needs to end. The season needs to end before answering the keep or sell. Let the season end. Trust me, I will answer this question, but I will answer this question at the end of the season. If Pellegrini at the end of this season scores 2 goals and provides 2 assists, it's a failure. And I will be Pellegrini, sell Pellegrini. I will be Pellegrini out because we could generate a lot of money from it and we could buy a better player. If Pellegrini revitalizes and rejuvenates, then I will obviously be Pellegrini. Keep Pellegrini in. But right now, a few days before Christmas, what I do want to get, and my response, more of a keep or sell Pellegrini, is get the armband off him. Get the armband off him, not because I'm cruel and not because, I'm cruel. He's not playing well. Get the armband off him. That's not the point which I'm making. I think he should do it for his own mental health and for his own football career. I know he's Roman. I know he has lifted that Conference League as a captain. And people will say, well, if you get the armband away from him, he will fall in even greater depression. And part of that will be true. It's hard for a player to digest the fact of getting the armband away from him. That's with any player. If you tell a captain not to be a captain anymore, he is going to feel depressed. He's going to, kind of feel moody and stuff. But I would do this for his own sake. I would do it. I just feel like Pellegrini with the captain armband is playing with a mental block in his mind. Get the armband off him and see him play without that armband. If he improves, then it clearly suggests that it's all about the pressure that the armband gives to him. It's not easy to be the captain after Totti and De Rossi. Yes, Florenzi was the captain, but for like 1 year. I'm not counting that. Imagine being the Roma captain after Totti and De Rossi. Imagine wearing that armband knowing that you don't communicate with your teammates and that you don't speak. And the fans know that. And the fans have turned against you. And the fans have, there are a lot of people which want Pellegrini out right now. Before, going and getting to the ultimate decision of sell him, or keep him, first step is get the armband away from him. Is this an authoritarian move that Mourinho could do? Yes, it is. This is an authoritarian move, without a doubt. Do I like authoritarian regimes? Not in the sense of history and Mussolini and Hitler. That's not what I'm getting into. In terms of football, do I like authoritarian managers? No, I don't. Because an authoritarian manager kind of destroys the ambience that the group has created. So I am against authoritarian managers and their sense of authority. But under some decisions, there needs to be some authority. Pellegrini hasn't been performing for the past 2 seasons. Maybe Dybala's arrival has made him, has overshadowed him. Get the armband off him. That's the first step. Who would I give the armband to? A lot of people say Mancini. And I agree. Mancini's got a captain mentality. Mancini is, he's what you want to see as a captain. But I would argue something else. I would argue something very controversial. Mancini has a great mentality. But I think as a captain, Mancini isn't a great role model. A captain needs to be a role model. And yes, Mancini will show the mentality of a captain and will definitely communicate more than Pellegrini. But you look at what Mancini does on that pitch and you ask yourself, if you give him the armband, will he be a role model for players like Bove, Pizzilli and all of these players? The answer is no. Because a player which spends 80% of the 90 minutes protesting and being a dickhead, in my opinion, isn't captain material. A captain needs to be respected. A captain needs to be a role model. I'm not saying that what Mancini is doing is incorrect, because in football teams, you need bastard players. You look at Pepe, Porto, at Real Madrid, you look at Sergio Ramos. Every successful team has a dickhead of a player, and it's a good word. It's a good word. But I don't think he should be the captain. Who would I captain? Unpopular opinion, Edoardo Bove. Captain Edoardo Bove at 21 years old. it's controversial. It is controversial because pressure is going to be immense. Maybe not necessarily give him the armband immediately, but start him as a captain in a few games. Bove is what I see as a captain in this team. He's a leader on the pitch at 21 years old. He's everywhere on that pitch. He bleeds for this team. He sheds tears for this team. He fights for this team. And he is, unlike Mancini, he's a sportsmanship guy. That is what a captain is. And that's the Pellegrini discussion. The last thing which I will say, excuse me, before ending the stream, it's going back to this thing that Mourinho said, I want to stay, but maybe with a new project, a young project, a young player, young profile project. I want this. I have nothing against this. I would be the first one to support this. Now, I have seen a lot of people go on Twitter and on Instagram. Well, now that Mourinho has said this, everybody is expecting Mourinho to train an under-23 team. No, that is not what Mourinho said. Mourinho didn't say, let's change a new project and I will be the manager I will turn into, your academy manager. No, that's not what he said. And in my opinion, he wouldn't be great at that because he's somebody who needs big names. He said something different, which I fully agree on. He said, instead of buying deadwood, maybe it's time to experiment with young players coming from our academy, scouting players and all of that. And that's different. Mourinho didn't say, oh, well, starting from next season, I want to stay and I'm willing to train an under-22 team. No, that is not what he's saying because he can't do that. Mourinho's philosophy of football is not built upon that. But, I fully agree with him. Why is it that instead of buying Renato Sanchez, who's always injured, who doesn't give the passion on that field, who ultimately doesn't really care about the badge and only cares about the money, why is it that we in 2024 almost, we are still prioritizing these players over promoting young players like Pizzilli or like Pagano? Ask yourself this question. Wouldn't it have been more beneficial, instead of spending money on Renato Sanchez, or spending money on Shomurodov a few years ago, or Vigna a few years ago, or Christensen this season, or Chilik last season, how more beneficial would it have been to grow your academy players and turn them into first team players? Why? Why didn't we do that? The answer is very, very simple. The answer is we're not brave enough. And not Roma, Italy isn't brave enough. Italy is delved into this culture of having to just buy big names instead of promoting young players. And this is the ruin of Italian football. This is the reason why Italian football is in a period of time where they can't grow their own young players. Because every Serie A team would rather, because of money, because of TV rights, because of audience, a team like Roma would rather buy injury-prone Renato Sanchez because it would catch more attention and it would catch more merchandise rather than grow Pizzilli. Is that correct mentality? No, it's not. In terms of as a fan perspective, in terms of, you look at this, we watch Roma games week in and week out. Wouldn't it even be more pleasing for us fans watching Pizzilli play rather than Renato Sanchez play? Pizzilli scored a goal last game in a useless game in the Europa League and started crying. Isn't that what fans want to see rather than Renato Sanchez not giving a shit about playing? And yet, why don't we do that? Because we're not brave enough. And the few chances that we get, we have to sell because we prioritize the money over the talent. And that is wrong. That is morally wrong. That is inhumane. And that is the reason why, not just Roma, but the system of this country of football is failing. Because no team in this league would rather grow a young player or scout a young player, but they would rather buy big names And a lot of these big names turned out to be absolute wastes. And that's the reality. That really is. Bob is too young for such a tough, mentally demand role as a captain. I agree with that. I do agree with that. But I can also guarantee you that at the age of 21 years old, Bove would communicate more than Lorenzo Pellegrini at time of speaking. And I would guarantee you that Bove at such an early age and such a young age would have better communicating skills than Pellegrini. You know, and this is why I want Bologna's game to be a turning point. Because maybe we have actually realized that why don't I stop buying these useless players and why don't I actually start growing my own? Pisilli, Calafiori, gone. Frattesi, gone. Volpato, gone. It's, in my opinion, it's inhumane. And that's what I want to see Roma improve on as a base of everything. That is the base. That has to be the base of the new project. So yeah, look. Anyways, I'm gonna catch you tomorrow with the match preview for Napoli. If you haven't already, do smash a like, subscribe to the channel. If you enjoyed today's topics, feel free to let me know in the comments your thoughts. And I wanted to answer the ultimate question: keep or sell Pellegrini, or who would you give the armband to? That's the question for you. Let me know in the comments as soon as this video ends. Follow me on Instagram, smash a like, subscribe, take care, enjoy your evening, and talk to you soon. See you all out.